Hello, my name is Ashanwa. Today's video is on Adire textile. If you're interested in learning about its history, if you're interested in learning about the making of Adire textiles and seeing my own personal collection, stay tuned. Before we dive in, a quick introduction. My name is Ashanwa. Welcome to LAJA. This is a channel dedicated to African fashion, prints, and textiles. I'm very passionate about sharing their history, sharing their cultural context, and the different ways they can be incorporated into your wardrobe and lifestyle. So if that sounds like something that tickles your fancy, I encourage you to subscribe, stick around, and let's learn and grow together. So I earlier mentioned that today's video is on Adire textiles. I really like this textile. It's one of my favorite ones out of the many African textiles that exist. So we're going to go into what it means. We'll go through the history. We'll go through how it's made, the techniques, and then we're also going to go through my personal collection, so you get to see my Adire clothing, so you have a visual of what it actually looks like. So I will address all questions, comments, and concerns at the end of the video, including where to purchase them, so stay tuned for that. So starting with what is Adire? Adire is a type of tie-dyed cloth from southwestern Nigeria, traditionally made by Yoruba women. So this is a textile that is women-led and it is predominantly done by women. And you can see the contrast in other textiles like Kente, where it's male-dominated. Adire is primarily formulated and woven by women. It's made using a variety of resist dyeing techniques. And to break down the etymology, Adire is Yoruba for adi, meaning to tie, and re, meaning to dye. So Adire literally means tie-dye. It's material that is designed with wax resist methods that produce pattern designs in dazzling arrays of tints and hues. I'm actually wearing an Adire piece today, and you see that full outfit towards the end of the video when I do my outfit check. So onto the history of Adire. What is it all about? What are the origins? Adire was initially produced in southwestern Nigeria, and Adire textile traveled to southern Africa through Yoruba traders and trader families. Some families who chose to migrate to the north began creating Adire cloth to market to other women. Because Adire is typically made by women, patterns and themes of the Adire are passed down from mother to daughter within the family. So this is a matrilineal textile that is passed on from mother to daughter and so on and so forth across generations. The pattern of Adire are often representations of plants, animals, tools, and conceptual themes. Traditional themes are categorized into geometric, figural, and letters. The earliest pieces of this cloth were probably simple tied designs on cotton cloth, hand spun and woven locally, rather like those produced in Mali. So if you think of Mudcloth, Adire is made in a similar way where it is tied, it's hand spun and hand woven and tied and then dyed, and it has that shared similarity. In the early decades of the 20th century, there came new access to large quantities of imported shirting material via the spread of European textile merchants in Abeokuta. So Abeokuta is a city in, I believe it's in, I believe Abeokuta is in Ibadan, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check after and I'll correct myself, or someone correct me down in the comment section. So it was introduced by the textile merchants in Abeokuta and other Yoruba towns that caused a boom in these women's entrepreneurial and artistic efforts, thus making Adire a major local craft in Abeokuta and Ibadan that attracted buyers from all over West Africa. Abeokuta is considered to be the capital of Adire making in Nigeria. However, some suggest that the large cities of Ibadan and actually Abeokuta is in Ogun State. Abeokuta is in Ogun State. Sorry, I just corrected myself. Abeokuta is in Ogun State, but a lot of people suggest that the large cities of Ibadan and Oshogbo, that's Yoruba land, are more important in Adire making because Adire dyeing began in Abeokuta when Egba, so Egba is a tribe, a Yoruba tribe. So when Egba women of from Ibadan returned with this knowledge. So Adire's basic shape became that of two pieces of shirting material stitched together to create a woman's wrapper. So it was initially used as a woman's wrapper, so a cloth covering. And yeah, that's basically the history. So it has origins in Ibadan, it has origins in Abeokuta, and it is a women's led craft, which is very exciting to see. So onto the techniques of resist dyeing development. So the tradition of indigo dyeing goes back centuries in West Africa. The earliest known example is a cap from the Dogon Kingdom in Mali, dating back to the 14th century, dyed in the Onikon style. So Onikon is a style of Adire dyeing that I'm going to talk about later on in this video or in this live, so stay tuned for that. However, by the end of the 1930s, the spread of synthetic indigo, caustic soda, and an influx of new, less skilled entrants caused quality problems and still presents a large and it still presents collapse in demand. So when I did my video on shui shui cloth where I was discussing how the production of synthetic dye in the 20th century really revamped the entire textile industry, we see this trickle down into the making of Adire as well, where there was a shift from use of natural dye, indigo dye, to synthetic indigo dye. So, though the more complex and beautiful starch resist designs continued to be produced until the early 1970s, and despite a revival prompted largely by the interest of the US Peace Corps workers in the 1960s, they never regained popularity. So, if you watch my video on African textiles, on Ankara prints specifically, you see that in the 1950s and 1960s, and especially in the 1990s, through the 1990s, there was an influx of imported textiles from Europe and also China that really caused a decline in the market of the local manufacturers of African print textiles. So this also leaked over to other local textiles like Adire. So the demand for Adire was severely challenged, and as of now, simplified stenciled designs and some better quality onikon and alabera, which is a type of tie and dye technique, are still produced, but local taste favors Kampala, which is multicolored wax resist cloth, sometimes considered as Adire. So when you're shopping for Adire, you would see the plain ones like what I'm wearing. They were originally indigo dyed, but today you can get them in a variety of different colors. But the shift in the demand went towards the multicolored wax resist cloth as well. So there has been a recent revival on the bright side of Adire art by Nigerian professionals in the diaspora, such as Dr. Toyosi Craig, an innovator and expert and Nigerian artisan like Nike Davis or Okundaye. I really like Miss Nike. I just call her Miss Nike. She's the owner of Nike Art Gallery, and I'm a huge fan of her work and how she's really pioneered art, African art, and African craftsmanship. So those are the two people who are really big in the space for Adire, and particularly Mrs. Nike has inspired younger designers like Makio. So the name behind that Nigerian designer is Amanda Osakwe. And yeah, so those are some of the pioneers of Adire textile within the diaspora. So political figures and celebrities such as Michelle Obama and Lupita Nyong'o have worn Adire inspired clothes in their work or in their lives, essentially. Also, Bamidele Abiodun, the wife of the governor of Ogun State, or the ex-governor of Ogun State, launched Adire Market Week in 2022 as an initiative meant to promote Adire and protect local textile manufacturers. So there are still efforts that are being made to really preserve the nature of this textile making and to kind of keep things flowing and keep things alive. So now we're going to go on to the techniques, which I kind of highlighted a little bit earlier on, but I'm going to go deeper now. So today there are three primary resist techniques used in Nigeria. So there is onikon. So this process involves tying raffia around hundreds of individual corn kernels or pebbles to produce small white circles or blue backgrounds. The fabric can also be twisted and tied on itself or folded into stripes. So that's the first technique, which is onikon. The second technique is called alabere, and this involves stitching raffia into the fabric in a pattern prior to dyeing. The raffia palm is stripped and the spine sewn into the fabric. After dyeing, the raffia is usually ripped out, although some choose to leave it in and let wear and tear on the garment slowly reveal the design. So this is the second technique for adire making. So we have onikon, and then we have alabere, and then the last one is called eleko, and this involves resist dyeing with cassava paste painted onto the fabric. Traditionally done with different size chicken feathers, calabashes are carved into different designs, or it's done with chicken feathers. Calabashes are carved into different designs, and also used in a manner similar to block print as well. So that's the third technique for creating adire textile. So since the earlier 20th century, metal stencils cut from the sheets of tin that line tea chests have also been used. Most of the designs are named after day-to-day things or popular deities like African gods and goddesses. Popular ones include the Jubilee pattern, which was first produced for the Silver Jubilee of George V and Queen Mary in 1995. We also have another pattern that is named Olokun, who is the god of the sea. We have some bebe, which means lifting up of the beads, and we also have Ibadan Dun. I'm not Yoruba, so I'm really trying here. I'm really trying. Ibadan Dun, which means Ibadan is sweet. So those are just some three really popular textile patterns that you may find out in the market. So Nigeria is also known for its two-toned indigo resist techniques created by repeat dyeing of the cloth painted with cassava root paste to create a deep blue. So the indigo blue is the original adire, but like I said earlier on, you can get a array of colors. Like I'm wearing yellow today. I have one that's purple as well, and you can get them in different colors. I knew when I was trying to go shopping for adire, well, when my mom was trying to go shopping for adire textiles for me, she sent me colors like red and orange and purple, and these were the ones I settled on. So they come in more colors today. So after this, the quality of the cloth is dyed. So just kind of like delving a little bit more into the coloring techniques or the dyeing techniques. So I already earlier mentioned that cassava root paste is often sometimes used to create the making of adire, so the deep blue color. The paste is then washed out and the cloth is dyed a final time. So usually quality adire cloth is dyed 25 or more times to create a deep blue black color before the paste is washed out. So it's a very manually intensive process that just takes time, and that is reflected in its price as well. Adire is not the it's not the most expensive textile, but it's not cheap either. Quality adire does cost, and I'm going to go into where you can purchase that if you're here in the United States. So, additional forms of indigo resist dyeing exist in other parts of West Africa. For example, the Bamanan of Mali use mud resist. So, in their Mudcloth, I encourage you to watch my Mudcloth video to learn more about it. So, the Senegalese dyers use rice paste instead of cassava roots, and the Undop people of Cameroon use both stitch resist and wax resist. So that is it for the topic of adire, the history, the techniques, the different types. So now I'm going to go into where you can buy your adire clothing from. So I already mentioned that a designer that you can look into that does use adire regularly in her collection is Makio. She's a Nigerian fashion designer, and if you look her up online, I'm sure you can find her work, and that's one way. And if you are in Nigeria, I definitely recommend that you check out Nike Art Gallery. She has a location in Lagos and in Abuja as well, and she sells a lot of adire pieces. Or you could just go to the local market and shop for adire. But if you're in the United States, I encourage you to check out Etsy. Etsy is where you would have your best bet at finding adire textiles. If I do find a vendor that I trust that delivers authentic adire textiles, I'll share it with you all. I just haven't found any yet. But if you're a brand watching this, I encourage you to reach out to me if you specialize in adire textiles here in the United States, so we can see how we can work together. But for me, I got mine through my mom. She lives in Nigeria and she did the shopping for me. And that leads me on to the next portion of my video, which is my adire collection. So I'm going to show you the pieces that I currently have, and then we'll do an outfit check. So this is the first adire dress I have. So you can see this comes in a purple color. It is a robe that is very, very pretty, and you can see the blue in here. So this is lined with silk, and I typically wear this as a dress wrapped around itself. I also have another dress in the same material. It's also a wrap dress. So this is what she looks like as well. A very similar style, but this one is just plain. And it looks really good. This is like the purple adire textile. It's like a bluish purple adire color. And then I have this yellow one, which matches what I'm wearing currently, and it's this halter dress over here, and it has you just tie it around the neck, and it's just very pretty yellow that looks like the sun. And then I'll go into my outfit details. So this is what the adire dress I'm wearing looks like now. It's just a very simple kimono dress. This is really my style. It's simple, it's chic, it's breathable, and since adire is made from cotton, you can wear this year round and not worry about sweating. So that's what the dress is looking like on me. And then I paired it with my handmade citrine headband, which I made by myself. These are available for sale on my website, LAJA.com. I have them in different colors and different crystals. So I have lapis lazuli, which is one of my more popular ones. I have it in rose quartz, amethyst, black tourmaline, carnelian, and more. So you can check out my website, misslaja.com. And I just have my plain earrings and my jewelry, essentially. So that is it for this live. So we went through the history of Adire, we went through the uses, we also went through the dyeing techniques as well. And if there is something else you would like for me to discuss in terms of textiles, I would love to know. Please leave them down in the comments section. And I look forward to the next live. I will see you all later and have a lovely Sunday. Bye.